सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। We are seeing verse number 6. Of the sattva being stainless is luminous and healthy. It binds through attachment to happiness and attachment to knowledge. Vanaga. I was explaining what is sattva, what is rajas, what is tamas, how they manifest and how it binds. So from there we can infer and understand where you stand also. That's how we understand these three. Sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo gunas. And what is interesting, he says, is even sattva guna binds you. That's the most interesting part. How it binds, he says, it binds you to knowledge. The bondage you have is to knowledge. Knowledge in the sense of, as I did mention earlier, knowledge means pure knowledge. Knowledge which is not easily translatable into utility. See, suddenly a person says, I wanted to upgrade myself. So I am doing extra course. Why? Only then I am available in the market. Otherwise, your relevance in the company goes out. So therefore, what you have to do? You have to. Otherwise, you are not there. See, for that he is going about studying. So there's a new course. There's IT people do it. Every 1 or 2 years they have to keep studying something or the other. If they don't study, then no guarantee. Every day when you check in, only you know whether you are working or you are not working. The access card allows you to enter. Now you are one more day. See, that is not knowledge here. See, that knowledge is the knowledge that you gain, which is not directly having any utility value. That's knowledge. He says you get bound to that knowledge. See, if there is a utility, you get bound to it. That is not sattvic. See, musicians, when you say music today has a good scope. A lot of people have options now. A lot of platforms are available to showcase their talent. And for anyone who is on stage, for an actor, for a performer, or for the speaker, what is engaging them is not the money that they get. It's not the money. It's that appreciation. You see, for the success of a musician is that. When I play a briga, the one who is able to appreciate it and says, wow, that's a joy for him. It's not how much the fellow paid, you see. But today that is not the case. See, stand-up comedian. There's a new profession now, stand-up comedy. Every company keeps calling them every week. One comedy, another comedy. Why? Why suddenly even the corporates are interested to engage a stand-up comedian? How many of you have been to stand-up comedy? All stressed case. That's front line. Front bench. So much of agitation. Front bench. All, you saw that? No backbencher raised a hand. Or maybe they are not saying. Because anytime this fellow asks a question, there is a, body, something is there. Why there is a need actually? So what he has to do is he has to sit and think. He has to study. He has to observe. So many things he has to do. It's not easy, I tell you. Try to crack a joke. It's a very big risk, Tragedy is fine actually. I cry on stage. I show this. I show that. You are simply sitting. Nothing happens. Comedy, if people are not laughing, let's say, what will happen? I crack a joke and nobody's laughing. I'll be a joke then. That's a tragedy then. It's not comedy. It's not an easy task, I tell you. If that's the case, no task is easy. Is cooking easy? Not easy. Driving a car is easy. It's not easy. Any job you go, there's an effort you have to put in, remember. But when you are striving, and what is that which is driving that? Particularly when you want to gain knowledge. That's why a lot of students go for engineering, not pure science. Pure science and mathematics. Even if that boy comes and says, I want to study BSc mathematics. What is the reaction from the parents? I'm going to study biology. By studying biology, what are you going to do? At best, you can become a biology teacher. What else you can do? And then he has to say, no. After the biology, I'll do MSc. After MSc, I'll do PhD. After that, postdoc. After that, that we'll see then. Same thing you do in medicine. You become a doctor. What is it? By the time that postdoc fellow comes out, same IQ level is required. You see, you have to go up to that stage. Versus a person who is studying medicine. But there is a huge rush towards medicine. You mean to say you're all passionate about medicine? You're passionate about engineering. What is it? Market value. Like one of my friend, he said, I'm going to do BCom. I said, evening college. I said, day. He is a brilliant fellow. Yes. So why are you going evening college? Day college, the college is offered. Take a, day for what? Waste of time. Do business. Then why are you studying? No. Wedding invitation. The wedding invitation, they have to write. Then market value for this fellow in the marriage market is more. For that he is studying. That is not binding to knowledge piece. What is this bondage to knowledge? That constant itching will be there in the person to know, to understand. They can't remain quiet, comfortable with ignorance. Allah Sattva. When you don't know in which field, not the field where your material benefits or emotional benefits, intellectual benefits, it's not those things, please. It's not because of those things. Name, fame, power, position, status. Allah. Utility means only these things. Name, fame, power, position, status. By gaining this knowledge, nothing of this is going to come. No guarantee. Name, fame, power, position, money, nothing of that you will get. But can you remain ignorant in that field because it is not directly giving you any utility? Are you okay to be living without that knowledge? That's where sattva comes. They can't accommodate ignorance. That's sattva. What is sattva binding to knowledge? That urge, that itching will always be there to know immediately. I have to get my doubts cleared straight away. The attachment to knowledge. How it binds? It binds you through attachment to knowledge. What's the proof that you are attached to knowledge? There will never be that contentment, satisfaction. That tripti will not be there. This atripti karatvam will continue. More you study, more you feel dissatisfied. Not feel ignorant. It's not feeling of ignorance. It is dissatisfaction. I have not, sir, you have been teaching Bhagavad Gita. When are you going to take Upanishads? Yeah, I have done this Upanishad, this Upanishad, this Upanishad. When are you going to do Brihadaranyaka Upanishad? Brihadaranyaka Upanishad you wanted to do. Okay, you have studied Brihadaranyaka. Then you will never be satiated with knowledge, nor can you remain in ignorance. That's the dilemma there. You see the problem. Bound to knowledge means with knowledge you are not satisfied. You can't remain comfortable with ignorance also. You are stuck there. See, that's called bondage. What is bondage here? When you gain that, you should feel the satisfaction. It should give you that tripti. Right? Is it possible for you to know everything? It's not possible. You cannot know everything. There are so many things you would not know. Great Mahatmas have been saying, Sarvajna, everybody doesn't become Sarvajna. Sarvajna Pita, anybody can't go and sit there. See, you need to be all knowing. How can you be Sarvajna? Sarvajna Sarvavit, says Upanishad. No, all knower. How can you know everything? It is an impossibility. But can you remain in that state? Say, I cannot be Sarvajna and okay with it. If you're okay with it, Naka, either you are Gunadita or Tamas. Sattva will not remain keep quiet. A sattvic person will never say, I am okay with ignorance. I don't care. I may be ignorant, sir, but it's okay. But there are other things more important to handle. First, let me do those things. I can take this as a second priority. That's not my primary priority. This is my secondary one. So primary one is what? RCB match. Fortunately, we're not having class in the evening. Evening 7:30, if I have the class now, nobody will be there. RCB match is there. What is the priority? I'm not saying it is irrelevant or anything, please. But it's interesting to see what is it that you are going to consider. And as you are learning or studying and all these things, I had this urge. I used to go and attend classes like you're all coming now. So every class I go and sit, a class I would immediately ask, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about that? And for about 2 years or so, this man, would sit with me and explain to me. And then, afterwards I'll go to his house evenings. Class will be happening every, Sunday, 11:30. It was a class. 11:30 to 12:30 would be the class. But then, suddenly, Wednesday evening I'll go to his house. I'll wait till he comes back now because those days no phone and all that. You can't fix appointment and all that. See. So we had to go. We'll just go to his house. They'll say, he has not yet come. Okay, I'll wait. So I'll be waiting. And this guy will come back from office. He comes back from office, I'll sit in his house. And then he will bring that book and sit and explain. Say, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. For 2 years or so, it was going on like that. So one day he took me to his, guru. He was there. So he said, you come. I'm going, you also come. So we went. We went, we did the prostrations and all these things. And then this, he couldn't keep quiet. So this guy is asking me too many things. Finding it, interesting. Of course, it's helpful for me also. It's helping me to relook at it. But many times, the questions that he's asking, I'm not able to, give an answer. So what do we do in that case? Yeah. Ask him to stay with the doubt. Doubt ஓடே இருக்க சொல்லு. Let him be with that doubt till next year. If it sustains, you ask me, he said. It's so interesting. I never expected that. I thought, he also didn't expect. He also thought, he will say something, he will appreciate, or he will appreciate him, or he will appreciate me, or he will give some solution. But this angle we never thought. Both of us were shocked. He was looking at me, I was looking at him. Abir, 1 year. We'll see. Do you have that capacity? That's what the Upanishadic teacher does. He's not doing anything different. See, Prashna Upanishad. Starts like that. People are the Rishi. The students go to Pipala and they go, to clarify their doubts. The six of them go. All six of them were, deans and were, of six universities. And they go to this school teacher. Pipalada is a school teacher. These fellows are running universities. Why, two of them were vice chancellors, chancellor, a dean. The universities they go. And they ask him, sir, we have a doubt. He says, it's okay. You stay in the ashram, do tapas for 1 year. After 1 year, you ask your doubt. He doesn't even know what are the doubts they have, okay? They have not told him what doubt they have. You ask me. If I know the answer, definitely I will answer. What does it mean? There is no guarantee that I will know the answer to your question. Suppose after 1 year, they ask the question to him. He says, oh, that I don't know. What will happen to this fellow? 1 year of their work is what? And stay in the ashram and do tapas means what? What is the meaning? Wash my clothes, bring food for me. Now I am going and searching for food in the jungle. You fellows have to go now and fetch for me. And whenever I have a back pain, headache, you have to give massage and then cook for me, clean my kuti. This is what tapas in the jungle is. Tapas doesn't mean he is not asking them to go and sit there and do meditation for 1 year. Do tapas means what? This is tapas. All that seva they have to do to him. What is he doing? He's checking, are they bound to sattva or not? The one who is not bound by sattva alone is qualified for Brahmavidya. Not before that. That's the explanation he gives here. That's why Krishna clearly says here that it is binds through attachment to knowledge. Get bound to knowledge. And also it binds you to sukha, happiness. That sukham that you experience. Now the sukham what he is referring to is not the sukham that we experience from the contact of things. It's not that place. Sometimes, when you contact the objects of your joy, objects that you like, you contact, there is sukham in that. You like mangoes, you eat mango, there is sukham. Right? That is not the sukha what he is referring to. The sukha that is referred here is the sukha that is experienced from the quietude of mind. When that mind becomes quiet, that quiet mind reflects the ananda which belongs to Atma. Right? That ananda that belongs to Atma gets reflected in a quiet mind, still mind. And the sattva makes you believe that this sukham itself is Atma Sukha. That's what they say, Anandamaya Kosha. Anandamaya Kosha is what? That joy, the reflection of that Ananda which belongs to the self, is perceived, is experienced when the mind gets quieter. When I'm meditating, I feel that, sir. That is not quietude, that is stillness. Your mind is stunned. You see, you do get that sukha. That's why first time, exaggeratedly, when we show, it becomes easier for us. When you see that Niagara Falls for the first time, fourth time you go, what will happen? First of all, you will not go. Right? You will not go. Once you will go, yeah. Fifth time, what will happen? First time you go, there is. Second time you go, what happens? Taj Mahal. You see, first time it is amazing. Seventh time you go, what is there? See, that is the stunned. When the mind gets stunned, also it will appear as quiet. See, that's because of something external. Here, the mind itself is disciplined. The disciplined mind gets quiet, comfortable, no chattering. When the mind has stopped the chattering tendency, it is not throwing thoughts at random. Right? At that stage, there is a sukha, there is a joy, there is a happiness. And that happiness is not the real happiness, it is a reflected happiness. But the problem is, the reflected happiness itself is so joyful, so powerful, your mind gets stuck with it. For that, first you should quieten the mind. And you should stay in that quietude for a period of time. Only then you will experience it. That's what we see. This, the moment you say Rishi means immediately you think of what? Not Avenue Road. You think of him sitting in a cave. Muni, Rishi means he will not be here. He will be sitting somewhere. No transactions. Nothing exciting happening around him. Nothing interesting going around him. It is just, few birds will be, chirping, going on constantly. In the daytime, birds in the night time, some insects will go on making noise. Constant noise. In that, he'll be experiencing silence. What is the silence now? The quietude of mind. Like, first time I experienced it. We were staying in Chennai. We were staying, a road parallel to the railway station, railway track. The road. 24/7, every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, some train or the other will be going and coming. And you know that the horn. And there are two gates we had. This side one gate, that side one gate. So when this, express trains and things go, they have to honk. And they don't give like, our two-wheeler horn, ping, 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 like. If he pulls in, it will be like, will go. As it is so noisy. The first when I visited the academy, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I thought, ashram when you go, it'll be so nice and you'll get a good sleep and all that. The bedtime, mattress was there and all, which we have not used in our house. In our house, we just put a dari and sleep on the floor. Mattress, it's a, 5-star luxury for us. So we found there, mattress, ashram mattress. Wow, man, fantastic. Couldn't sleep there. So I was wondering what's going on. And then slowly it came. It's about, after about a week or 10 days, got used to that was going on. After about 6 months, we used to have a clock. There's no wall clock. It will be a small table clock there. The clock ticking, tuck, 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 tuck. That became so disturbing. Became so disturbing. Whole day, not even the night or the day and all that. Whole day it is. I took it and kept it inside the cupboard with the clothes on top of that. So whenever I want to see what's the time, there it is nothing much needed because we know the schedule. So once you know the schedule, we don't need to tell. Any time we'll know. We look up and we'll say this is the time now. So it's not a problem there actually. So, but I said we can see there. No, what is the necessity for me to have the time? So disturbing. So disturbing. What is that? Initially, the sound was comfortable, the silence was disturbing. Now you get so used to that quietude. Even the clock ticking agitates. That's how sattva binds you to sukha. A slight thing also will be, experience like that. It's like you have sensitized yourself. Once you have become, sensitive, it's a mark of, normalcy. The body should be sensitive. Anything we eat, sir, nothing will happen to me. That means what? 9 pigs of alcohol I drink. Nothing happens to me means what? What is running inside is alcohol, not blood. Then nothing will happen. And we think, we take pride about it also. 7 rounds I can stand. 10 rounds I can stand. That means full of alcohol. One smell of it, you should get giddiness. That means you are normal. Now, we think that this fellow is weak and that fellow is strong. Ulta. So, in your understanding, the sattva, rajas, tamas, remember to understand them from 2 angles. Easiest way to understand. One action, another one thinking. You have action and you have thinking. How sattva will express at the thinking level, how sattva will express at action level. Behavior. How sattva will move. How it's easy to understand. See. So, it says that sukha that you get, where you get attached to, the lower knowledge you get attached. The higher knowledge is forgotten. What is the proof of it? The lower knowledge will not help you to get rid of the ego. That the sense of I, mine, the knowledge will not help you to get it. In fact, it will reinforce. Knowledge reinforces that ego. Arrogance of knowledge, dangerous one. That is why they said those who are in the process of gaining knowledge, brahmacharya, when they start, after the Upanayana ceremony, they are supposed to go to study. The first thing they teach that boy is what? First thing the child does is what? Upanayana, Bhiksha. As soon as they put the thread, sir, thread is put. What to do now? Next is what, sir? Go for Bhiksha. For what? Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor. Doesn't make any difference. Everyone has to go and collect Bhiksha. For what? The knowledge when you gain, the arrogance will come. How to neutralize that arrogance? First, neutralize that possibility and then feed them knowledge. Today, you pay the fees. So every child thinks what? The teacher is employed by them. Yeah. You pay the fees. Huh? You think what? Every parent thinks the teachers in that school is who? Employee. You're paid, no? How do you expect the fellow to have humility? That knowledge will not give humility. It will give arrogance only. Arrogance of knowledge. Okay. That's why first thing they teach is these values. Neutralize the possibility of it. Because the moment you start gaining knowledge, it will not be possible. This is the problem, what we call today as generation gap. Gen Z. Gen Z. Every generation is a Gen Z for them compared to the previous generation. No respect, sir, nowadays. Why? They don't respect. That is a fact. Remember, they may be affectionate, they may be loving, but respect you will not get. No grandson respects the grandfather. They don't. No granddaughter, grandsons respect grandparents. Not possible. Why? I'm not talking about affection. Remember, affection is another thing. I'm talking about respect. Respect is possible from when? Only when I believe I don't know. One. Two, I should believe you know. First, I should believe I don't know. Two, I should believe you know. If I believe I don't know, I believe you also don't know, then respect will not be there. I believe I know, I believe you know, then also respect is not possible. I believe I know, I believe you don't know. What is it? Positively arrogant. That is a current generation. That is a current generation for every generation. You see, you may say, no, 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 I was having a great respect. That is because your boo was dependent on them. When you were a child. When we were a child, we were not like that, sir. Amnesia. You have forgotten. Right? The dependency. You see, in the areas where you are not dependent, where there is no stake involved, is what the reference point is. Where there is a stake involved, always you will be how? Huh? Always will be. When you are applying for a loan to the bank and you are going for the appointment, how will you talk to the bank manager? Huh? You better give a loan, huh? Otherwise I'll sue you. Will you talk like that? You will be so polite and you will be so nice, and he'll say, what about this document? I'll get it, sir. It will be, I'll send it to you. Don't worry. That. Why are you so polite? Because stake is involved. You see, when there is no stake involved, what are you going to do? Is the reference point. You see, where there is a stake, don't take that as a reference. where there is no stake involved, how are you behaving? Keeping all other factors, the only reference point which will define respectability is only when I believe I should know, or I should believe that I don't know. The first thing we are telling every child is what? You are great, you are all knowing, you are intelligent. Yeah, oh, he's very brilliant, sir. Who says that? Huh? I'm telling you. I'm saying, what are you? Huh? Buddha cannot be calling somebody Buddha. No. Buddha giving certificate, someone to be Buddha. Stupid. They never get it. You see. So from where you are going to have this, the moment you gain knowledge, along with that, natural tendency will be to develop that arrogance. That ego will come. The only knowledge where gaining that knowledge more and more and more, you will become humble. And in that humility, with that knowledge, is possible only in one field, the field of Brahma Vidya. In no other field you can expect this. If at all you see someone saying that, they're just saying it for the sake of saying it. That's all. It's like everyone in Hollywood is supposed to go and receive the award and say what? I dedicate this to my wife. If he doesn't say that, that doesn't mean he's actually dedicating to her, offering to her. That's custom there. They're supposed to say that. You see? Why? Only then the market is. There is no market. There is a problem there. That's why always a hero will be white. There will be a fellow who is helping that hero. That fellow will be always. All movies you see. They're supposed to have it like that. Why? That's a custom there. That doesn't mean, they are actually feeling it. It's not. It's supposed to. You cannot not do otherwise. It's dangerous. It's risky. There will be one fellow who will rebel it and present the opposite. That's all exceptions. That's not the rule. Customary statements. I see these people, giving interviews during Diwali and all that. These actors, the celebrities, they ask them, can you tell about your son? What is he doing? அவரு என்ன பண்றா அவருக்கு தாங்க சார் தெரியும், எங்களுக்கு தெரியாது சார். Our means, in a respectable way. In English, there's only you. A lot of them, ask me, why are you not? She's been, a couple of them have been after me for, doing class in Tamil. They don't understand my problem. None of them know. Only today I'm saying. In English, I don't know many bad words. Tamil, I open my mouth, I don't know what all will come. See, no clue I have. That's why I'm restraining myself. Danger. You see. Not easy. Is that the way he is actually going to address his son inside the house? Vaanga sir, ukaranga sir. Is this the way he's going to address? Like sometimes Swamiji will do that. Come on, sir, please sit down. Yeah. If he says that, means he has forgotten who I am. So I have to tell him, Swamiji, I am Ishwaran. Ukarra. Yes. No, like that it is. But when an interview, how he is supposed to speak? Do you see how plastic it has become? Is it the fact? Is this the way you actually speak to that fellow in the house? That's not the way you speak to him. So the way we speak to the world, the way we actually behave, is that the way you actually think? Huh? Amazing. Attachment to action, attachment to knowledge, attachment to this varies, he says. You get attached to knowledge. The moment you gain knowledge, you get attached. What is the sign of you are attached to knowledge? Ego. Attached to it. There is knowledge. More the knowledge, more the arrogance. More ego will come. Rajas will say. Yes.
So you said we see the expression of the gunas at thinking and action level. Here, both are internal, no? I mean, at the knowledge.
Arrogance,
and-
is it internal? Arrogant behavior is not internal. Attachment to the clock sound, tick, 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 put it inside. Is it action or thinking? When I'm explaining, I'll explain with the mixer. You have to segregate and understand. But I've told you the principle. The principle is that anytime you are thinking about these two things, gunas always think on those two lines. I don't prefer to bring in, your emotions and all that. Emotions, I'm just keeping it aside. Why? Because it is not easy for you to relate to emotion because you lack that objectivity. Only the one who is objective can relate to emotion. The one who is lacking objectivity can't relate to emotions. Difficult that is. So that is why I'm not giving you this one. I say it's better to take it as behavior and thinking. What's the, because I believe that I know more. What is it? Thinking. But expression will be what? Arrogance. Expression of arrogance. Where in the areas where you are not dependent. That is why we keep the child dependent. You don't make the child independent straight away. Keep them dependent. It look like, oh, are you not oppressing the child? Let loose and see what happens. It's impossible. You have to keep telling them who is the boss. I am the boss or you are the boss. I have to keep reminding them every day. Now we can't say, that day I told you, no. Every day you have to say that. Why? It's a protection for them. It's not to destroy them place. It is a protection. It's like you put a fence. You plant a tree, the sapling comes, you put a fence around it. For what? To restrict. Yes. Restrict the goats to come and eat. The same sapling were to grow into a tree, then what happens? It breaks the fence and it can feed hundreds of goats. Still nothing will happen. That is after growth. Till growth, how it has to be, sir? Has to be that fence. The fencing is what? Of course, you got to sow a seed and then you have to put manure, water, and it has to grow. Then there has to be a fence. Right? Today the problem is what? You are sowing the seeds, manure you are putting, no fence. Previous generation, what did they do? No seed only. Straight away put only fence. So last generation put only fence, no tree, no sapling. Current generation sapling without a fence. So from there, this looks better. From here, that looks better. What Vedanta says is, you have to do, it has to go hand in hand. As you are gaining knowledge, you need to be kept in a restricted environment. Discipline. The policing is needed. If policing is not there, what will happen? Either machine or a man, but policing is needed. Machine polices or man polices, it doesn't matter. But policing is a must. Why? Behavior. But that will not change the thinking. See, so you can restrict the behavior, but thinking cannot be restricted. Like I say, you litter, you will be fined $100. And people got so frustrated, you know what? In front of the policeman, they will throw. And he'll give a ticket. And they pay $100 and go. And they started enjoying it.
Singapore.
It happened there, Singapore. So then they, you know what they did? They said 4 times or 3 times something they have. If you do it now,
They'll be jailed.
they have to put in jail. And then they come out to do and then keep quiet. And they say, know what to do. In another 10 years down the line, they will go to jail also. How long you are going to be in jail? 3 months. Okay. Anyway, I needed some time, for me to study a course. I can go to jail and study and come out, write the exam. No problems. Thinking cannot be. See, thinking is one, behavior is another. See. Rajas. Yeah.
So you mentioned about the reflection of the Ananda in the sattva,
In the mind.
in the mind.
Yes. Quiet mind. When the mind gets quieter, the self, which is of the Swarupa of Ananda, gets mirrored here.
How does that?
Because it's a reflecting surface. Because mind is a reflecting medium. That's how it is gaining that Chaitanya. Right? This awareness, the consciousness is there, no? From where the consciousness comes?
In the mind.
In the, we are aware,
Yeah,
we are conscious of, we are gaining knowledge. All this is Chit. Knowledge potential is there. Knowledge potential is there only in the mind. Mind, I'm including intellect here. Okay, in the subtle body. Why it is there only there? Why it is not available to your body? Body cannot. If body were to be conscious, then dead body you go and put in fire. What it is supposed to do? Keep it in ice box, no? Huh? Inside the ice box, when you keep the body, what is supposed to say? Hey, it's chill, man. Freezing. It's freezing here inside. It should say that. No, it doesn't say that. Why? Because inherently the body doesn't carry that consciousness. But a live being is conscious. So what do we understand? We understand the body is conscious not because of the body. The body's consciousness is coming from something else. Right? What is that something else? That something else is the mind. Then they further go to the investigation and find out, is that consciousness inherent to the mind? Up to this point, you can do your inferential conclusion. First point is inferential conclusion. Right? Now the mind is having consciousness. Up to this point, you can come. Now when you ask the question from where the mind gets the consciousness, your inference cannot do anything there. No more you can rely on Anumana Pramana. Right? You have to go to Shruti Pramana only. After that, Anumana cannot be done. After that, you have to come here. Different instrument to be used. So here what they say is, the mind is, of course, has consciousness, but that consciousness is not belonging to the mind. It is reflected. But the problem is what?
You think that it
The
is
source for that mind will not be visible to the mind, because we are seeing the whole thing from where? From here. Standing on earth on a full moon night, you can only see one. What is it? The light coming from moon. Correct. You will never be able to see the sun sending the light to the moon. The moon giving light, you know. But the moon receiving light, do you see? You will never see that. No one will see it. Right? But then we come to conclusion what? Moonlight is not belonging to the moon. It is actually belonging to the sun, reflected. But prove to me, show me where. Imagine a fellow standing and he says, chumma don't say. Where? Sunne illa, he'll say. For the illiterate fellow, the one who doesn't know science, right? He has not studied science. He doesn't know science. To him, when you say, moon is not giving light from the moon, he will say, can't you see moon is giving light? Moon is sending light, man, but this light is reflected from the sun. Sun itself is not there. He will say what? See, moon is giving light. Then there has to be sun standing. Sun should be sending light to the moon, and then moon giving light to me. Show me that. No. Can you show? And he says what? I will believe only if you show me. Correct. So for him, which is the pramana? He says, I will take only one as pramana. What is? Seeing. You have to show me. Anything which is not available for perception, seeing, is not true. For him. For this fellow is what? Anything which is beyond inference, not true. Same problem you encounter, this fellow encounters dealing with that fellow, is the problem encountered by this person who says, Shruti as a pramana I'm taking. Impossible to communicate. Why? Because it's not available for inference. You can't infer. How do you infer? Because the equipment which is inferring itself is that. You see, from there it is coming. So what is happening, they say, is this. When your mind is quiet, whenever it is quiet, The sukha that you are experiencing, even when your mind gets stunned, there is a sukha that you are experiencing. No, when you see that Niagara Falls, or when you see, Taj Mahal, or you see that, Himalayas for the first time, you get stunned. In that stunnedness, you are experiencing happiness, sukha. That sukha is not coming from Himalayas. It's not coming from Niagara Falls. It's not coming from that perception. It is coming from where? It is coming from the stunness of the mind. When the mind gets stunned, it gets quieter. It gets quieter, the reflection is clear. What is the swarupa of the self? The swarupa of the self is Chaitanya and Ananda. Knowledge gets reflected, happiness gets reflected. But the problem is, you don't understand it is reflected. You think that to be original. Because you think that is to be original, you keep holding on to that. That's attachment. Attachment to sukha and attachment to knowledge. He says, what is that? The reflected consciousness, the reflected Ananda, reflected Chit, Chaitanyam, and reflected Anandam is what is experienced as Jnanam and Sukham.
Vidya or Adhyasa?
Don't worry about that. That's a heavy idea. See, avidya, I have told you, avidya is common for all three gunas. All three, avidya is common. Adhyasa is common. That is common for all this. All that is stemming from there only, Prakriti. You see, Prakriti, Maya, avidya, ignorance, all that. It's a same thing. That's where very technically people define that as Moola Avidya and Tula Avidya. You see, primary and secondary. Those who go, very technical, they'll go to this Moola Avidya. Moola Avidya is common for all. Right? But then it is particular. What is particular with Sattva is, in Sattva, because the mind is naturally quiet, the reflection of that property of the self is clear. Which property is so clear? The property of Chaitanya and the property of Ananda. Sir, what about the property of Sat? Because what is the Swarupa of the self? Sat, Chit, Ananda, no? Isn't it? You have accounted for Chit and Ananda. What about Sat? For Sat to manifest, you don't require quietude of mind. Existence is enough. Dana Sat. Sat means what? That which is existing. Existence, knowledge, bliss. The fact that body is there, Sat is already manifested. See, so therefore you don't need to worry about Sat part of it. Where you can experience the Chit and Ananda part. The Chit part and Ananda part is possible only when this Sattva Guna is dominating your personality. When Sattva Guna manifests, in that manifestation, you will experience two things. What are the two things you'll experience? You will experience Chit and Ananda. The Chit is experienced as Jnanam, Ananda is experienced as Sukham. Reflected, mirrored. Right. This Jnanam and the Sukham, you will treat it as so enchanting it is. You will treat that to be final. That's natural. Because before that it was not there. Now it is there. and you are not able to find anywhere else. The only source is these two. So what to do now? More and more you will want to be in that state of quietude. And anything comes and disturbs that quietude, you get disturbed. You get agitated. That's a beautiful experience of it. The sound I was able to relate. Silence was agitating initially. That silence got so used to when the clock ticking has become such a big disturbance. What a, it's fascinating experience. At least for me, I don't know for you people, but it was fascinating for me. How that is happening. The sattva binds you to knowledge, and it binds you to that sukham, that sukha and knowledge, because all knowledge is thoughtful knowledge. All knowledge is thought. Any jnanam is a thought. A thought is what you are calling it as jnanam. Correct. Non-existence of the thought is what you call as ignorance. Right now, you are not having any vocabulary with reference to Chinese language. Right. Therefore, you are calling yourself as what? Ignorant of Chinese. Even when you hear Chinese language, you will not know the difference between Chinese or Korean or Japanese. You will not know the difference. Like I didn't knew the difference between Marathi and Hindi. I thought people speaking in the academy, when I joined there, I thought the servants were talking to me. Of course, they will talk to me in Marathi, I'll talk to them in English. After some time, I asked, when other people speak Hindi, I'm able to follow. Why is it I'm not able to follow their Hindi? Only then I realized what they are speaking is not Hindi, that's called Marathi. I said, oh, when you don't know, that means what? You don't have the thought. A presence of a thought you call as knowledge, absence of the thought you are calling as ignorance. Isn't it? With reference to law, you don't get any thought. Therefore, ignorant. Can an inspector go and arrest the central minister or a state minister? I have all evidences with me. Right. Can I file an FIR? How it has to be done? We don't know that. You got to guess. As I'm saying, you are guessing, correct? No, sir. Yes, sir. No, not everyone can't do it. I see. Then how do you define it? You see that law. What is a legal stand there? Not common sense. Legal stand is what? That we need to see. Same way. Knowledge, whenever we say it is, all jnanam is a vritti jnanam, they say. Thoughtful. Vritti. Vritti means thought. All knowledge is a vritti jnana. What vritti, with reference to a particular subject, if I have thought, I call myself as knowledgeable. With reference to a particular field, I am not getting any thought, I call myself ignorant. Right. But every vritti need to be has to be aware of. Every thought you should be aware of. Only then you can claim that as knowledge or ignorance. I know that I know. I know that I do not know. Like Swamiji always gives this example. You all know my name. Right? You all don't know my father's name. My name you know. My father's name you don't know. How do you know that you know my name? How do you know that you don't know my father's name? That knowledge is totally different from your name, father's name. Your knowledge and your ignorance, both are known to you. What is that knowledge? That is what is making you know I know this, making you know I don't know this. That's the last thought. You see that? This is variable thoughts. So many things you will put in the bracket of I know, so many things you will put in the bracket of I don't know. Sometimes there is a possibility of mixer also. When it actually you don't know, you believe you know. So many things you may know, you may believe you don't know. We don't care about all those things. That's all secondary. But all these things comes finally to one. What is that one thought? Source. The source thought is I know. That I know is where the whole thing begins. Sattva comes up to that point and it cannot go beyond it. And in that itself, it has such a joy. It's so close to the bliss of self-realization. It's so close. It's like, you are 1,000 rupees less to a crore. Are you a crorepati or not? 1,000 rupee less. What is the difference between the person who has 1 crore and you? For all purpose, there is no difference. Right? But still, technically, there is a difference. Sattva binds you to that, means it cannot move beyond it. You see, it cannot move beyond that point. You come up to that point, at that point, something has to happen for you to go beyond. Can you strive there? What effort you can put in there? Because all efforts will be up to this point. From here to the next is almost inhuman. Because no effort can be put in there. All efforts are to come up to this point. After this, what to do? He says, stay with it. That's where I told you the first point about sattva. What is the problem of sattva? Cannot remain with ignorance. It cannot. It will be rushing. It will be, it will not be able to stay with it. At the same time, it is so joyful. You cannot say you are ignorant. No, you don't know, you cannot say. Nor you are able to say that you have got the whole thing. You are in such a state, confused state that is, almost. But don't take it as confusion that you have in, Rajas. It's not that. It's a peculiar state where at the peak you can come to is to come to the Chit and to come to Ananda. That is pure sattva. Sattva guna works like that, says. It binds you to knowledge and it binds you to bliss. Bliss means sukham. Bliss is generally associated with ananda. Take it as sukha, joy, happiness, which is reflected. The problem with sattva is it takes the reflected as the original. Because the original is not available, because it's not available, no way we are able to establish a connection, a possibility of treating this as receiving from somewhere also not possible. So what to do? That's why I remember the example. Moonlight. Right. Then it will be easy. It's impossible for you to believe it. So you will hold on to that. That holding on to this is how sattva binds. To what it binds is where it is interesting. It binds you to knowledge and happiness. Right. More we'll see next class.